There's a constitutional amendment that's going to be on the ballot on Saturday. Wait a second. We had constitutional amendments on the ballot a month ago, whatever it was. And this one wasn't there. How does this work? What is it? How does this get slipped in? What's the deal?
Well, to address that issue, the constitutional amendments we already voted on were the result of the first regular session of the legislature, the one that takes place normally February till June. The one we're dealing with now came up in what's referred to as the second extraordinary session, or the special session they just held. And because there's a timeline from when they pass it, the governor signs it, it has to hold over and be published, it could not make the previous ballot. This is the first chance it can actually be on the ballot.
So what does this one do?
This one does one simple thing. Kind of paraphrasing it, it allows up to 2 at-large members of a state or college or university board of directors to be from out of state. Current law sets in statute how the governor, who appoints all the seats, how the governor appoints the seats. In each of our 4 major college boards, we have one for the LSU system, all things LSU. We have one for the Southern system, all things Southern, including Southern Shreveport. We have one for the University of Louisiana system, which is Tech, ULL, ULM, Grambling's in that system. They have a board, and then we have one for the community college and technicals. So those 4 boards each have 15 people who are appointed to them. 12 that are appointed from the Congress, 2 from each congressional district. So we get 2 from each board from the 4th congressional or North Louisiana, and then there's 3 at large. To get 6 times 2 for the congressionals, 12 plus the 3 at large. We're only talking about those 3 at large seats, and this would currently allow the governor to have up to 2 of those 3 people be from out of state. Current law says that all 15 members of the board must come from the state, be state residents. Well, the 12 from the congressional district will always be state residents because they have to live in the congressional district. It's those extra 3 on each board that now up to 2 of those, if this passes, could be from out of state.
Okay, got a couple of questions. Let's start here. Why does this matter?
Well, I think one thing, the reason why it matters is that first of all, I'll say this, Robert. I don't want to take a side or tell people how to vote, but to kind of explain it, in most of the other states, they already have this rule. Louisiana is one of the rare states that doesn't have this rule, because what happens is you'll have someone that graduates from Grambling or Tech or LSU, and they will leave the state. They'll move to Dallas or Atlanta or go to California and form a tech company or even live abroad. But these are great alumni of that university that want to come back. They often give money back to the school. They want to stay involved in the school. But under current law, they don't live in Louisiana, so the governor cannot appoint them to serve on the Board of Supervisors. And so someone that might go to Facebook or Tesla or a rocket company or a financial company on Wall Street, they can't come back and offer their expertise to help the school. So some would say that doing this allows you to open it up to some of the brightest and best alumni of your university who just may be expatriates now, to use that term. Others would say that we should always limit it to just the people that live in Louisiana.
Who is for this and why? And who is against this? I'm talking about politically in positions of power. Who wants it? Why? Who doesn't want it? Why?
Well, and that's where I'm confused, and I want to be careful to have people encourage people to go do their own research. What I will tell you is I did look at the history because I remember it when it came through the special session. This started as Senate Bill 44 by Cleo Fields, State Senator Cleo Fields, someone most people in Louisiana are familiar with, and Cleo Fields is a big supporter of the Southern system historically. And so it starts in the Senate. It goes to Senate Committee on Education, unanimous vote. It goes upstairs to the Senate, 33-0, unanimous vote. It goes across to the House Education Committee, unanimous vote, 9-0. It goes to the House Civil Law and the Legislative Bureau. Both of them sign off on it since it's a change of constitutional law, and it goes to the House in a 97-0 vote. The House amends it slightly, and they send it back over to the Senate, where the Senate votes on it a second time, 35-0. So when this bill came through the legislature, which, and let's be fair, the legislature is 100% controlled by Republicans, needing only 50% in each of those bodies to pass, and they have 2/3 in the Senate and almost 2/3 in the House. No one voted against this bill when it came through the process. So as a political watcher, analyst, I'm really kind of confused why there's any political angst about this bill now, because both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans, it was a Democrat-sponsored bill by Cleo Fields. It had unanimous support of every Republican in the legislature. So I'm kind of at odds to understand why now anyone's opposing the bill.
Let me ask you this, Scott, because when I read it and I look at it, it looks like it's geared toward somebody, my buddy. So when I read the language, I'm like, who are we gearing this? Is this for some particular person? But the way you're describing it, it's not.
In other words, is Rodrell Sykes going to end up on a college board?
And that may be the problem, Robert and Aaron. The bill is not geared toward anybody. The bill simply changes the terminology of you must be a Louisiana resident to saying that up to 2 of the 3 at-large members on these 4 boards, we're talking 8 total appointments out of the thousands the governor makes, and out of the 68 to these 4 boards total, we're talking about no more than 8 persons could be non-Louisiana residents. And so I think the problem is the bill, when it went through the process, was viewed as a great bill by everybody. Why wouldn't we have what every other state? There are Louisiana residents today. You can live in New Orleans or Baton Rouge or Shreveport, and you can serve on boards in Texas or Arkansas or New York or California. They have a bill that allows people that are graduates of those universities to serve on the bills, not residents of the state specifically. So I think when it went through, it was viewed as a good government bill. This seems to make sense. I think what's happened now is that there are people or there are powers out there that are saying, wait a second, this specific person might be appointed to one of those 8 seats, and I don't like that, so now I should be opposed to the bill.
And
that's what I would encourage.
Go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Robert. No, go ahead.
Last question. And people always bring this up about constitutional amendments on the ballot. Is this clearly worded, or does no mean yes and yes mean no?
No, I think this one's clearly worded. I mean, when you read this, if you understand the boards it refers to, there may be some ambiguity. It refers to boards of higher education. That's technically 4 boards, the ones I went through, ULL, LSU, Southern, and the Technical and Community College Board. Once you understand that it's 4 boards and how those boards are seated, this is a pretty clear bill. It only changes Louisiana resident to up to 2 of them can be non-Louisiana residents. I think there's some politics behind the scenes, as perhaps a person now may be on the horizon, and we maybe don't want this governor to make that pick. But this is one I think the citizens, it's a philosophy bill. Do you want only Louisiana citizens to be on these 4 boards, or do you think there might be some people out there that are Louisiana people not living in Louisiana from our universities that we would want to come back and help advise us on our community college boards?